Thank you once again, Shaman, for introducing the subject of gift. I think the subject of gift is a very interesting one, and like in ancient times, gift giving is still an essential feature in our cultures today. We know a gift represents something that is given to someone without expectations of payment or anything in return. In our modern time, an item, we cannot categorize an item to be a gift if that particular gift belongs to the immediate recipient. So let's say something, this book belongs to me, and then all of a sudden you come and pick this book and you want to gift it to me as a gift. It doesn't represent a gift because it already belongs to me. So it doesn't fall within that category. Although gift giving might involve an expectation of reciprocity, a gift is meant to be free. In many countries today, the act of mutually exchanging money, goods, and etc. may sustain social relations and contribute to social cohesion. The term gift can refer to any item or act of service that makes the other happier or less sad, especially as a favor, including forgiveness and kindness. Gifts are presented on occasions such as birthdays and holidays, but we should also understand that a significant amount of gifts are considered unwanted, where the giver pays more for the item than the recipient values it. Under such circumstance, we are told the unwanted gifts are often regifted, donated to charity, or thrown away. Now I will ask this question. What is your motivation for giving gifts? What is your motivation for giving gifts? Because after this, we are going to enter into various theories or various aspects of futures of gift giving, and we'll look at the areas of concentration of people when they are given gifts. Whether they are focusing on the item, or whether they are focusing on their intent, or whether they are focusing on the value of the item, or whether they are focusing on the reciprocity, whether that gift will in turn brings another gift in. So
for me, it's the impact. For example, our daughter Sarah, she has a lot of toys. If I buy one more, it doesn't make such a big difference. But if we are, let's say, donating to places where people don't have basic needs, then I feel this gift has much bigger impact. So that is what is driving me. Also, there are people who are really happy when they get something, and that happiness gives me a strong desire to give them something. For example, you all know Monique. When you give something to Monique, she's so happy. Mm-hmm. That has an impact. A small thing, but it can have an impact. So for me, the main motivation is when I'm giving something, is this going to be appreciated, thrown away, is it really needed? How much impact this is going to have?
Okay, thank you very much for that perspective. Yeah. Is there other alternative perspective on the motivation for gift giving?
I think it can be also thankfulness for what you have. being born in Switzerland, in my profession, there are many other doctors here. But in the third world, you make a difference. If you are not here, you are not missed. But in the third world, you may be very badly missed. So for thankfulness of having been Switzerland as the background, you try to give something away, and you can be an example of a Christian in a Christian institution in the non-Christian part of the world.
But it still comes back to impact.
Yeah.
The impact of your service is not the same here and there.
Exactly.
And also the intent. Why do I give? Why does somebody give me something? Because they want something from me, or because they loves me? That's the difference, and you feel it.
Okay, so now we have come to the intent.
But I think even if it's just a small gift, we had a gift exchange at work among all the teachers, and they said not a value over 10 francs. But it's just a token and a little gift as a way to say thank you and to make that person feel special. And it really didn't matter what the gift was. Mine was a bar of good smelling soap.
Oh.
Every day when I use that soap, I feel special. But I think it's to, say that you appreciate, show your appreciation for the person you are giving to, no matter what the object is. And I think a good example is when we were in Afghanistan and the gift giving there. We received so many gifts, it was almost uncomfortable. We received carpets and jewelry and clothes, but they were trying so hard to demonstrate how thankful they were for us to be there and to create a friendship, and they would never accept our gifts.
Wow.
It was very difficult for them to take a gift from us.
Because they have already received a gift from you.
I guess that's how they feel. Yeah. Whereas we felt like, but you gave us so much, now we have to give something back. We were looking at it monetary. But it was more beyond that, it was more intent.
Yeah, we've been invited by a lady. She had no family, no husband. She has cooked that tea material about 10 times, and she made an 11th time a tea for us, which did not give any color at all, but it was all she had, and for us that was a big gift. Be invited and they share that little thing they had.
So maybe maybe one of the points of gift giving is not what you receive, but as I said, the intent behind the giving. The intent behind the giving can be greater than the gift itself.
Okay, so having gotten this perspective, I want to enter into the world in which Paul was. What was the concept of gift? What were the motivations? And what was the nature of gift? And how did he appropriate the concept of gift in his framing of the concept of grace that we have in the Bible? And how does he present this grace to us? Because it's very important for us to understand that context in which Paul was operating, and from there we'll be able to really appreciate what he meant when he talks about grace. So now, the first point, we call it superabundance. Superabundance. The superabundance, it concerns the size, the significance or permanence of the gift. The focus here is to express the scale of the gift. And here somebody called Beckley, who is a New Testament scholar, he said, the more lavish and more all encompassing the gift, the more perfect it may appear. So in ancient time, the Greco-Roman world, or even in Second Temple period, for a gift to be valued, it has to be lavished. It has to be something that is all encompassing. It has to be something that it's coming from an unending wealth of abundance. So we can take a critical example from the Bible when Queen Sheba of Ethiopia visited King Solomon. When she has to go, she went with caravans of gold and all kind of different kind of precious metals, because it was a display of also your power and authority. But when we go back to the context, we realize that when she went to Jerusalem and saw even just the servants of Solomon, the cups that they were using, the plates that they were using, she realized that she has entered into another new or whole horizon of wealth, which is beyond that of Ethiopia and what she has brought. And when we look at that context, again, we see Solomon, when the Queen Sheba was going back to Ethiopia, when King Solomon, in demonstrating of his gift giving and demonstrating of his power and authority, gave more gold and wealth beyond that which the queen presented to him. So it was a kind of a demonstration, gift giving were a demonstration of power and authority, and this kind of superiority. So the more gift you give, the more influential, the more powerful, the more authority you have. So that was one concept of gift. The second one is singularity, and the focus of this facet of gift giving or grace is on the giver, where the intent and the spirit of the giver is emphasized. So this is where we talked about the intent, looking at the intent. What is the intent of the giver? And here Plato acknowledged God to be the highest form of being, who is also purely good. Consequently, he believed that all actions that proceed from God should be good. So he believed that the understanding was, because God is the highest good, it means that the intent of God is also good. It means that everything that God gives comes from a pure intent. The intent is pure. Then we come to the priority. Here the emphasis is placed on the timing of the gift. A gift is considered perfect when it takes place outside the initiation of the recipient. The gift is not supposed to be a response to a demand on the part of the recipient. By this facet of gift giving or grace, the giver is in principle required to anticipate and provide for the need of the recipient. So here, it's more about anticipation. So like going to Afghanistan and going to maybe Africa, you anticipate that there is a need that is already there that needs to be met, and you are in that capacity to be able to provide that kind of assistance or to meet that need. So here it's more about having to look at the timing of the presentation of the gift. The timing will also dictate whether it is going to meet the needs of the recipient or not. So it's more about anticipation. You have to be able to be at the point to be able to anticipate the gift before even the person shows any sign that he or she needs it. So that was another one. Then we come to the incongruity. In antiquity, gift giving was a means to achieve social connection. And therefore, it was customary for giver to be selective in order to ensure that the recipient is one that is wealthy and suitable for the gift. So here, gift was used as a tool of establishing social relation. So in order for me to give a gift to somebody, I need to now determine whether the person is worthy of that particular gift. So human wealth becomes the center or the foundation for gift giving. That is under incongruity. Then we have efficacy. Here the emphasis is on the effect of the gift on the recipient. A perfect gift may be designated as that which achieves its intended goal or purpose. Such an effect can invoke in the recipient immeasurable gratefulness towards the giver, like you said. They were trying to show their appreciation by giving so much gift that you felt uncomfortable, but it's an expression of an appreciation, and which falls under the efficacy because the need was actually met and they really felt it. Then the last one is the non-secularity. This is a facet of gift giving or grace that emphasizes on non-reciprocity. In antiquity, again, a necessity was placed on the recipient of a gift to reciprocate in kind. Gift giving was considered as a gift so long as it was not unilateral. However, philosophers maintain that recipient of gift co-reciprocate with non-material things such as a display of gratitude or honor. Now, based on this 6 types of gift giving, we are going to see how Paul couched the concept of grace out of 1 or 2 or 3 of them. Let's open our Bible to Romans chapter 5. Romans chapter 5, verse 8. Can somebody read that for us?
But God shows his love for us in that, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us.
Whilst we were yet what sinners, Christ died for us. Not when we were out of sin, but whilst we were yet sinners. This one, Paul is trying to emphasize on the concept of incongruity, which doesn't take the worth of the individual recipient into question. So all systems of human wealth, whether in terms of your education or in terms of your ethnicity, or whether you don't have in terms of wealth or your educational background, all kinds of human wealth is not considered as part of the consideration for gift giving. So we can see here, God, through his gift in the person of Christ, did that at a time where we did not have any wealth. Wealth in terms of good works. We didn't have any good works that will merit God having to bring Christ as a gift to us. And this is why it was difficult for the Jews to actually understand the concept of this gift, which is incongruity. Because for them, in order for somebody to merit a gift, the person should have a certain level of wealth in terms of works. So it is this type of wealth which is calculated in terms of wealth, which will necessarily invoke God to present a gift. And so I would like to go straight away into this and then bring it to an end because my time is up. I'll come to the Christ event. The Christ event, which Paul interprets as God's incongruous gift and superabundant wealth, introduced a puzzling reversal where Gentiles who are not pursuing righteousness succeed on account of their faith in Christ, whilst Israel, who vigorously pursue righteousness through works of the law, fails. Israel's failure, we are told, lies in the pursuit of a wrong-headed righteousness. Righteousness by the law, because of the law. But we are told this was as a result of their ignorance, thus have not submitted to the righteousness of God, which is the wealth of God. So the wealth of God here is demonstrated through Christ. That wealth that is able to, it's the vastness of that wealth is able to incorporate not only Jews who used to be part of God's people, but because of the vastness of the wealth, is able to incorporate both Jews and Gentiles. And it is free. It doesn't take the human wealth into consideration. All that the Gentiles had to do was an expression of faith. And all the Jews needed to do is an expression of faith in Christ. Because God through Christ had already given his perfect gift. That gift of salvation. That gift of righteousness which comes through Christ. And not through the law. Not through human wealth. Not through any system of human wealth, either through works of the law. So Christ's perfect gift has been given to us, and the gift of the Spirit has also been given to us. The gift of the Spirit is also free. It comes and enables us to live that life that God calls us to live. And ultimately, the effect of the gift, which is expressed in the death and resurrection of Christ, which brings that redemption back to us. The ultimate end is what is expressed in Revelation chapter 22, where all the disasters of this world, the pains of this world, the diseases of this world will be a thing of the past. The weeping will be a thing of the past. Because God will make all things new. And God himself will be with us in that new city, that new world. It's my prayer that all of us will understand that no matter which state we are, when we are coming to God, we shouldn't consider the state in which we are. Because sometimes the state in which we are can have a significant or a negative effect on us, which doesn't really allow us to come to God. Because sometimes we feel so guilty, we think we need to have a certain level of wealth in order to come to God. But with this message, Christ died for us whilst we were still sinners. So it is a gift that is given to us that we can all come to him no matter the state in which we are. It is that gift that breaks all barriers, all human barriers, and brings all of us together under a common God, where we all become the children of God, where we can have always access this through the faith in Jesus Christ, because he has already done everything for us. God be with you, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.